Well, hello, Benjis. Happy May 4th be with you. Welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. I'm your boy, Johnny Randolph, or you can just call me Randy. And today we've got a special guest that's going to be sitting in for BingeWorthy. Our other co-host, Courtney Scott Wright, she's going to join us a little later. But Travis, man, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
What can I say? I'm a certified nerd. Put a stamp on it. Geek all my life. I'm a professional nerd. I produce video games, and before I produce video games, I actually used to design pen and paper RPG games. So, usually when someone says I'm a nerd, I go, yeah, but how much of a nerd are you, right?
You gotta check their street cred on that, man.
You know what I'm saying? For real. You know what I'm saying? You go around with formulas on your shirt.
Right.
Come on now. I'm not trying to force anything.
Right, I get you, man. So yeah, somebody coming to your hood and you banging, they're claiming a sex, you're gonna be like, yo, what sex you claiming, fam?
Yeah, what's happening?
So you're like, if you claiming this nerd life, you're like,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna need some credentials, something.
Look, this is how I see it, Randy. Honestly, right? Like, I was a nerd when it wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
you earned your stripes, and you like, people just ain't gonna be out here just claiming stuff now that it's popular.
That's what I'm saying. That's all.
All right. Appreciate it. Well, the premise of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series, and then we come right here to the BingeWorthy podcast to discuss that series. At the beginning of our show, we will rate that series based on our unique binge-worthy scale. And then we engage in some scintillating, profound, and utterly captivating conversation.
Word.
And then at the end of the show, we re-rate it. Now, sometimes based on those conversations, we can raise that rating up. And then sometimes our conversations might cause us to just drag that shit all the way down to the flow.
Okay.
All right. So,
okay.
Speaking of our binge-worthy scale, it is as followed. At a number 5 is what we call a full binge out. That means this is one of those outstanding properties, one of those things that you watch in maybe 1 or 2 sessions. You might curl up on the couch, with your significant other, and watch that mamma jamma all the way through.
Word.
At a number 4 is what we call a full meal. Now, a full meal isn't quite a full binge out, but it is definitely worth your time to invest in watching that property. Now, our next rating, it's a number 3, and we call this a mini meal. A mini meal. It is not bad. It's just not great either. It's kind of, it's a C plus, a C, or something like that. Yeah. Courtney always describes it as a TV meal, right? And I always, TV meal. And I always say without all the Lyra seasoning, to give it some flavor. Yeah. Did I take you back there? Did I trigger something?
Yeah.
All right. And then number 2 is what we call a snack. A snack. It is something you're gonna eat it, but it's not going to fool you out. Right?
Yeah.
It's just there. It's edible, right? It's there.
Yeah. I could eat.
Right. It's a bag of Cheetos, right? Not even some good Cheetos, right?
Not even
some old Cheetos, right? Some old Cheetos.
Oh no.
But
right. For the puffy ones that are just a little stale.
Non-name brand puffy ones that are a little stale. But you tired. You done had a long day at work. And you're like, I'm not going out to get
no,
nothing.
nothing.
You know what I'm saying? You like,
Mess it
I done
up.
spent too much on DoorDash and Uber Eats. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
eat this snack, this right here,
Holla.
right?
Holla.
And I'm gonna call it
Okay.
a night, and in the morning I'm gonna get something. So that's what a snack
Okay.
is.
All
And
right.
then at a number one, we call this a cringe worthy. And that's just some more bullshit. Like,
Mm.
why the hell did I waste my time watching this? These are several hours that I cannot get back from my life, and I am not going to ever forgive you for ever recommending this to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, tonight we are evaluating Moon Knight. Now, the premise
Yes.
of Moon Knight is Mark Spector, a mercenary who has a disassociative identity personality, is drawn into a deadly mystery involving Egyptian gods and the multiple life after. So, we're going to start with you, Travis, man. I'm going to give you an opportunity. So, how are you going to rate Moon Knight?
I'm be honest, man. I gotta give it. I gotta give it its props, man. So it's full Benji.
Is a full binge out for you?
Yeah,
You
it's
want to give
full
her
Benji.
just a little reason why, maybe, and then we'll go into some.
It is extremely well acted.
Okay.
Uh, it the script is fantastic. There was action, there was mystery, there's an adventure, there's discovery, there's like I don't know what the hell else you would want in an origin like season that this doesn't provide in spades. I mean,
Okay.
like honestly, like this is up there with Peacemaker.
Okay. I hear you, man. I hear you talking. Peacemaker was a game changer for me. We did Peacemaker a
Mm-hmm.
couple months ago, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it was one of those properties that we all gave it a full binge out. So
Yeah.
I am going to jump in here with my review. So I feel like the television series, on Disney Plus, that Marvel, it has a formula. It has a formula, right? And one of those formulas is it's cinematically beautiful, right? I
Mm-hmm.
remember Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it was just like, wow, I thought I was watching a movie.
Right.
WandaVision, the special effects, it was just out of sight. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought too that this carried in that tradition of being cinematic to look
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
But unlike some of the other Marvel properties, with this, it is, as you pointed out, an origin story. And would it even been an origin story? It's an origin story of something that hasn't been a part of the MCU. So we've not been familiar with this series the way we have been with the other series, Loki, WandaVision, even what's calling was the one with the arrows.
Okay.
Hawkeye, yeah, I get it. Hawkeye. Even though it was Kate Bishop's transition story, but we were familiar with
Yeah.
the original one.
Mm-hmm.
This one we didn't have that, and we had to start with an origin story. And for me, I had a hard time relating to the origin story. It didn't capture me that way.
What?
It did not, man. I had a hard time syncing up and it capturing me. It didn't resonate with me. And a few too many times I found myself staring at my phone. It has some good
Wow.
things, and we're gonna talk about those. And it has some things that just made me feel like, eh. So I'm gonna come right in at a mini meal. A mini meal.
What?
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I'm coming right in at a mini meal. So
Oh,
we're
that's
gonna talk about it.
you coming in hot, dog. Like,
Yeah, man, I'm coming in. I'm coming in at a mini meal. So, but
wow,
we're gonna
that's
talk
like
about it.
not even
Maybe,
like a 6-piece nugget. That's like a 3-piece.
man, yeah, it's a 6 piece, right, with no
You
fries and water
sure?
and juice,
Okay. All
man.
right.
It's
All
kind of
right.
It's just
Okay. Okay.
I'm from the
You
Midwest.
sh-
A 6 piece don't do much for us.
okay. For real. For
A
real. For
six
real. For
piece.
real. Okay.
This a
I feel you.
Midwest 6 piece. This a
I
Midwest
feel you.
six meal. It's just like,
Respect.
all right.
Respect. Respect.
That's what I order my daughter,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she don't eat meat, but
Oh.
if she did eat
Yes.
meat, that's what I would order my
That's
daughter.
it. Okay.
I'm a grown man. I don't do 6 piece.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. I feel you.
So, but let's talk about it.
Yes.
Maybe you can influence me to change my rating. Okay, so first thing I'd like to know, are you familiar with the source material? Have you ever read any of the Moon Knight comics?
I will do you one better.
Okay.
Not only was I really not familiar, what I was familiar with, I hated with a passion. How about that?
Okay, so all right, so evidently from the transition from the comic books to the screen, they had to make some enhancements that you really appreciated then. Because
Okay,
I'm not
so
familiar with the source material at all.
yeah, well,
DC is my people. DCs are my people.
me
And
too.
okay, well, I appreciate
I
that.
used to work at Warner Brothers, and
Okay, okay.
and yeah, and I'm G'd up as far as the DC comic crowd. What I am saying though is that it was sort of like uh I guess the word on the street is that Moon Knight was some backwards ass Marvel version of Batman,
That's
right?
what I heard too.
Yeah, and I was like, what kind of jackass like dresses up in all white to go fight crime at night? Like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I was openly hostile, is what I'm saying, to this. I talked a lot of trash on social networks before this came out about Moon Knight. Who cares? So that's what I'm saying. It's like I will do you one better. So I had a passing fancy, or a passing hatred or whatever, that just seemed to boil over a little more. And so for me to go from that to going, all right, I see you.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm not familiar with Moon Knight at all, like at all. And when they first started promoting it, everybody was telling me that it is Marvel's version of Batman. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm a Batman guy. I'm a DC guy, so I'm interested in seeing this. And then when I started to watch the first episode, to me, I'm expecting Marvel's version of Batman, and that is not what I got at
No,
all.
sir. No, sir.
So it really, really kind of threw me, and I was just like, "Hey, what are we doing here? This isn't Batman." And guess what? Our other co-host, the esteemed Miss Courtney Scott Wright, has just joined us. Courtney, say what's up to the people.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here and talk to you.
Glad you're here. And you see, we got the also esteemed and highly knowledgeable Travis. And we're already getting in here to our discussion about Moon Knight. So we've already started. I've given my rating, and I've given it a mini meal. Travis checked me. He checked me because he said, what? He gave it a full binge out. So Travis started off like, what were you saying, man? Right? So we're going to turn our direction to you, ma'am. How are you going to rate Moon Knight?
I'm sorry, Travis. I'm going to give it a mini meal too.
So,
welcome to BingeWorthy, Travis. Welcome to BingeWorthy.
You invite me over from Tech Millions, Now to hear the roast me, is that it? That's what's
No, not to roast you.
on the streets.
It's not you. So we want you to convince us. You're like Moon Knight defending a defense attorney. Like you, please convince me.
We want to have a conversation. We have been known at BingeWorthy to change our mind. As I told you, sometimes we can pull the rating up, and sometimes the conversation can cause it to drag it all the way down to the flow. But Courtney, would you mind elaborating a little bit on why you feel this deserves a mini meal rating?
Yeah, spit your game. I can't wait for this. These nuggets.
Okay. So here's the thing for me, because I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about it since like last night, and I was up at midnight waiting for Moon Knight. I was like, Moon Knight, change my opinion right now. Most stories have a beginning, middle, and end. For me, Moon Knight just has a middle. It started in the middle and it ended in the middle. It does not have a clear beginning and ending because we don't know really anything more than we knew from the beginning of the series. I mean, that wait. I know.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna fight it out.
No,
we're four siblings fighting over the remote.
Yes, and this is perfect because I love Oscar Isaac's performance. I love the concept. The pilot to me was spot on. The first 2 episodes, they had me. But then the 3rd episode, for the rest, I was like, where? I don't necessarily care because I don't know what I'm supposed to know about him because he doesn't know. For me, it was the same problem with Brie Larson in Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, she didn't know who she was, so it was hard for us, the audience, in my opinion, to like and know her. Moon Knight, I like Steven. He's he's cute and lovable. He's kind of like Baby Yoda. But like, then you got Mark, who's kind of like your Mandalorian. I don't really know anything other than what I started with.
We're gonna talk about it, man. We're gonna talk about it. So Courtney, I had started off by asking Travis, was he familiar with the source material? And Travis alluded to that he had some familiarity with it, and that he knew about it, he couldn't stand. So I'm going to ask you, are you familiar with the source material in any way?
I'm not very familiar other than the deep dives that I did when I heard Moon Knight was starting. And I saw that there, just basic backstory. And I was confused from the beginning, like, why are you starting? Mark Spector, as far as the comics go, is the main personality, is the main character. So yet you're giving me more of Steven. You're making him more the likable character that I kind of prefer to follow. But it's also because I don't know anything about Mark. I don't know his life. And granted, they did give us a backstory into his childhood. But I still don't know why I should follow him. Like Captain America, he's fighting because he's always wanted to protect and serve. Black Widow's looking for redemption. Thor is fighting for Asgard and Midgard, his Jane Foster's homeland. Even Iron Man, Tony Stark has this epiphany and revelation out there, and he wants to, put a suit of armor around the world. What is Moon Knight's motivation other than Khonshu told him to?
Okay. All right. So, Travis, I'm gonna jump to you, man. What did you think about the action sequences in Moon Knight? We had a lot of them, and I'm curious to what your opinion is. How did you feel about the action sequences?
I thought the action sequences were very believable. They were well choreographed. They were finely shot. Almost some of the poses are straight out of comic book panels. And I loved every minute of it. There was nothing about Moon Knight and the way he dispensed justice that was lacking at all. At all.
He showed no mercy, and that's what
Zero.
gave 0 F's.
He did at the end.
At the end, until the end. And that was when he was just like going to kill the Maven, which I didn't quite understand why he didn't.
Oh, I understood why he chose not to.
Okay.
But
Well, we'll come back to that. So, Courtney, how'd you feel about the action sequences of the show?
The action was great. I can't take anything away from that. Like, my problem is not with the action. I thought the fight sequences were phenomenal. I thought that I really liked when Layla became the avatar of Tawret. That was her name, right? I think that was the hippopotamus.
Layla, that was, yeah.
Yeah, Layla took over the avatar of the hippopotamus. I loved Layla. I loved that she didn't really have, until that final episode, she didn't have any special super skills, but she was still, incredible. Even what was it, episode 4, when she had her necklace, which was like, she ended up using that. I really enjoyed the actions. I agree with on that problem. The only thing I thought the device was used a few more times was the shuddering. The shuddering, which was the shift in personalities and the advancing of time, that sometimes became
confusing.
No, I wasn't confused.
Okay,
I thought that they used that device a lot.
Yeah, it confused me because it was like one thing was one moment, and then like we got the after effects of it. So I was like, did he just go off? Did he just kill it? Like, how did he do this? Like, how did he accomplish it? Like, I would have wanted to see the action. And then it's just like they were just skipping. And now I get, as we progress through the story, I get why maybe they did that, but the constant changes of the personalities and the blank outs, they were confusing to
me. I that was the point.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
it worked then.
In gaming, that's called, working as designed, right? Like, so I think part of the genius of this, and genius of this series, in my opinion, is that we're going to go back and take a look at this, and on multiple views, you can pick up all the breadcrumbs that they nested in here, that once you understand what's going on, how it takes this to another level. And I saw it building in the process. Okay. And so, like, for example, when you're talking about being confused, okay, there were some transitions of his consciousness that were like a straight, like, blink, right? And he was in another like area or time or something like that. But then there were some that were very violent. It was blink, 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 right? Yeah. And as soon as it stopped blinking like that, something crucial happened. Like, there was some hardcore violence that happened because he, you would see someone dying, or, he would be bloody or something like that. That's the personality that you hadn't seen.
Yeah, that was
that's another, and so now you're like, okay, like, and you can show that in another season, like, because that's homeboy at the end.
Yeah, that's the guy who was in the sarcophagus in the mental institution episodes.
Yeah, I got that at the end.
But that's perfect, right? What do you like? You don't like Kaiser Soze or something?
I just felt like they were messing with me, man. Like, I went through all these episodes, and it was like I was confused, and I was like, oh, then I've got to go back and look at everything over. I guess they were dropping breadcrumbs, but
they were. I got the breadcrumbs.
I didn't. I thought it was Mark. I thought he was blanking out and he was transitioning.
Oh no! Like, I knew. I think I knew around.
And so he was just
either 2 or 3 that there was a third altar. Like when he was fighting the guys on the roof. Was that episode 2?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I knew that there was a third altar because he kept saying, like, what did you do? And Steven's like, I didn't do this. You know,
Yeah.
so at that moment, I was like, there's a third alter. Because there's generally, when the person who has DID, there's more than one alter, generally speaking. And dissociative identity disorder.
And I had to Google that.
And so to me, it was just like, there was that, like, the whole episode where you realize, like, why he was that way, like what traumatic thing like made him that way, and what he had to do, and how they ended up tying that all together at the end, where he found some peace by killing a piece of himself, but at the end of it he realized that pain, that's a part of him, and he can't be whole until he gets that, so that's why he went back and he said, yo, son, if I know you here in this desolate place, right, and you are dead, and if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out together, and then that's what made him whole. That's what made him balanced. That's what made him a hero, like I said, and the fact that I don't completely know how to sort everything out just yet, it invites me to actually go back and pick up those clues and have these discussions. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you actually make a series that can inspire this type of discussion, that's a feat in and of itself, and not because, oh, this is bad, but let's try to unravel this, and so to me, I'm taking a look at this and I'm saying a couple things. I'm saying, damn, this was good. Number two, and I mean this, these are the type of superhero stories that you can only tell in streaming, because there's no way you could tell that origin story in a movie and do it any sort of justice. You see what I'm saying? And so thank God for streaming services now that you can get this type of long form storytelling now.
Well, episode 5, I thought, was the best episode. I thought that was a great origin story when it talked about his brother, and then how his mother just flipped the script on him.
I mean, it was basically ordinary people.
Yeah, and we got these.
That book, Ordinary People? Were you forced to read that in high school?
It sounds familiar.
It was a movie with Campbell Scott something. Had 3 names. But anyways, yeah.
But yeah. And I thought, and the way he created the different personalities to protect himself. And then his dialogue with Mark was like, the reason you are able to be who you are is because I took the brunt of all of that. I was like, whoa. Yeah. Whoa. And in Steven's mind, his mother was a saint, right? Because in Steven's mind, it stopped right at that moment, right? That Mark was formed, and he took all that in. And then I had to really think about it. Like,
Mark was the main personality. Steven was the second personality.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Okay, well, vice versa. And then when he was talking on the phone, he was like, you're not talking to your mom. Your mom is dead. She's been dead for years. I was like, wow, that's heavy here. So that was my favorite part of the series. And that's when it picked up for me, but it was only one more episode left.
I mean, they can't give you, I mean, look at what you're asking for. You're asking for, like, I want X-Men, and I want This Is Us, and I want, like, Grey's Anatomy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying is like this series or this, this first season, as it is, was giving you so many things. Because I mean, at the beginning, he was just in pieces. And the great part about seeing, like the last episode is you got to see him actually come to terms with a lot of that, and him being able to seamlessly switch between roles, and all of them seem to have different power sets as well. You see what I'm saying? So as a character, I was looking at that and I was going like, oh man, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. You definitely, have different expressions of Khonshu, which I dig.
I have a question for you, Travis. There were some fan online rumblings about the introduction of Mr. Knight, and how that a lot of fans thought that iteration was introduced too soon, given the fact that that is something that was just in a current comic book. I think just recently, like the Mr. Knight in the suit was developed. How did you feel about that? Like, did that bother you?
Well,
No?
once again, like, I know of Moon Knight,
Mhm.
but as a character, I hated him. so anything they were doing in the show actually endeared him to me, and so for me, there was nothing I held like sort of as a religion as far as Moon Knight was concerned. He was just another character. Now the cool part also about that is like, just the amount of trust that we have to vest in Marvel as a studio now, right? It just stupefies me, right? Because now they can do stuff that no other studio could possibly do, just because they have an established fan base now that knows their fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't bothered by it. I actually liked the Mr. Like I said, I mean, I read about the controversy or the rumblings, as I like to call them, but I didn't bother me. I like the differential way that they presented Steven's version of Moon Knight and Mark's version of Moon Knight, which was directly, connected to Khonshu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Courtney, I had some trouble figuring out what was Moon Knight's powers? Either of you guys, what was his actual powers? Or did he have any?
He couldn't be killed.
So yeah, I mean, clearly he's a meat puppet, like he's definitely a meat puppet for a god, right? He's an avatar, right? Of a seem like, omnipotent in Marvel doesn't make sense, but I'll just say like a very powerful god, and he is his earthly manifestation. And so therefore, I feel like if Khonshu can conceive of it, the Moon Knight can do it, which is a pretty enviable power set to have, which is because my God says so.
Yeah, I assumed it had to be like his powers were based on the phases of the moon, like the full power and might of the moon. That's what I thought his abilities were, especially given the fact that Khonshu was able to turn back legitimately the sky in order to show them a historical moment that they would not have been able to locate the temple without.
That was interesting, right? And it was doing it in real time because the people were looking. People were actually looking at the sky being turned back, and I was like, "Wow, I never seen that." I would have thought in most series or IPs, they would have just had the people who were directly involved be able to see it, right? And it's just them, and it's kind of an inside thing. But with this series, they was like, "Nah, we gonna do it real time, and the whole world."
It's not this series. It's not this series. This is what I am telling you, right? This is the beauty of Marvel. Okay, it is not the series, and this is precisely what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that when people look up in the sky and see the stars doing some crazy shit in Marvel, they go, somebody is doing some crazy shit, because this is a universe that has seen a snap, that has seen the Eternals, that has seen now alien invasions, have seen all these different things. It's so like when they look up and they see somebody doing some voodoo shit, okay, it's snap. It's not enough to contain it anymore.
There was they're legitimately in, what were they, like Marrakesh or something like that? I was like, nobody ran. Not one person over there, like,
That makes a lot of sense too that you all say it, because it's like, hey, half of existence disappeared, right, for a period. So if we see the stars, we see the stars moving around in the sky, it's like, what difference does that make? Okay. Oh, can you not hear Travis? Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, did he go out?
Travis, can you hear us?
Can you hear us? We're having some technical difficulties.
I don't have my microphone. Rodney, can you?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Courtney. Yeah,
you can?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay. Rodney, I see, Conchu in the sky.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, because I can okay. Well, Travis is gonna try to get his audio back up.
Mm.
I hear you, Travis.
We hear you, Travis.
I hear you.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Because I can't hear you.
Yes, I hear you.
Oh yeah,
Keep going. I'm gonna see if I can do some surgery here.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? Oh, so I'll say this, and then we can ask Travis when he can hear us. Did the lack of brown people in the Avatar worlds of the African gods bother anybody? Because it bothered me. There was one black woman who was Isis, and I was like, we can't get another brother. We can't get. I mean, y'all.
And it's ancient Egypt.
Right. At least somebody else brown. There was one other brown woman who was Khonshu's ex-girlfriend. I can't think of her name. But that was it. Everybody else was white.
Yeah, and even when they were in the catacombs and they went to the sarcophagus, they were like, this is Alexander the Great. And I'm like, what? Out of all these pharaohs and thousands of years, like the pharaoh that you're going to mention is Alexander the Great? Like, what are we doing here, people? I needed to see more black people. It's ancient Egypt. I needed to see more black representation.
And I understand the argument. People have said to me that, Africa is not all black. And I'm like, I understand that. But Greek mythology, let them be the majority of the white folk. I just need a couple more brown people. I need it more. Look,
yeah, right.
I need all the uniform, but the dude as Osiris, come on, man, Osiris,
yeah, man, he's the little, yeah,
come on, man. I mean, even Horus wasn't even black.
Right, he's the embodiment of all the pharaohs. He's the child, he's the child of Isis and Osiris. He should have been black, man. I'm sorry.
I can't defend that.
You can't. Okay. Right. There was a disconnect in that. Like, not even our villain. I feel like Ethan Hawke. Now, I can't take anything away from his performance. I thought he did a great job. He was an enjoyable villain to follow. However, I think we could have got us a brown villain. Layla is legitimately she's Egyptian.
Yeah, she's Egyptian. She's current modern day
Captain Marvel moment where you had the little girl, or the Wonder Woman moment where you had the little girl like, I got an Egyptian superhero. He's like, oh, look at you, little girl.
And without pausing, she said, "Yep."
Exactly. So I love that moment. Was like super fun. It was like really like the representation matters, and seeing that little girl see her, that was a powerful moment. And they also, I felt like that was them saying, we want y'all to know she is of color.
Oh, absolutely. And why not?
Why not? Why not? I felt the same way about Black Panther. Right. I felt
she was Latin. I was like, probably Latin.
Well, when I saw Black Panther, I was thought the same way as that little girl thought as a full-blown adult. And so for a little girl to see that type of representation, it is important. And I was all for it. Some people tried to call it a woke moment. I was like, nah, man, y'all just don't get it. Y'all don't get it.
No, you don't get it. As a little girl, and honestly, in that region of the world, to see female empowerment, at least as far as like over here in America, that it has been presented to us. That's all I can say is it's been presented to us in that capacity. For a little girl in that region of the world to see a female superhero of her own ethnicity, that does have power. It's not about being woke. It's about showing the power of the feminine regime and ideal and impressing upon that to the younger generation.
No,
You can do this,
I
you
agree.
know.
And she was kicking ass. Layla was kicking ass when she
She-
got her
she-
superhero powers. I was like,
she
what?
sure
I was
did.
like, where did that come from? But she was out there throwing them things.
But I respect that she also made it clear this is temporary. You know what I mean? Like she never gave in to Khonshu. And even with Tyrette, she was like, yo, I'm not trying to like play with y'all. I'm doing this for one mission and one mission only. Now, hopefully we'll see her in Tyrette again because those wings were like pretty badass. I would have loved to have seen Isis take, now I'm not mad at Tyrette. She did a good job. But I would have loved to see her, you know, they go Isis. I'm just saying. She needed a new host. So
And like Isis is a hero. Isis saved
Isis is
Osiris.
badass.
And in like the real mythology, Isis saves Osiris when he's cut up and torn all to pieces. She goes down into the underworld and kicks her uncle's ass and reassembles him back together. She is a hero. She's a black goddess hero. That's 100% facts.
Okay, why did Disney try to? And now I know why, because obviously they didn't want to use the particular word of Isis, but they called her Isis. And I looked that up because I was like, I want to know if this is the exact Egyptian pronunciation of Isis. Is it Isis? Because I was like, why y'all can't just call her by her Egyptian
name? It probably
name?
is. I mean, there's a fair amount of Egyptians that were, you know, obviously directing, writing, and so on and so forth. So I'm sure if that's how they say it in Egypt, that's why they did it for that authenticity.
So
the director of the show is Egyptian.
Showrunner is Egyptian.
Yeah,
so maybe that is why. So that's an answer to the question that I needed. So thank you.
So I want to ask you guys, is Kaiju, is he a hero or a villain?
Kaiju? You went into Pacific Rim.
You know how I am with names, Courtney. Stop it. This ain't nothing new to you. But is he a hero or a villain?
God. They're both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because you know, usually gods are manifestations of ideals, right? And then so in that way, they are almost amoral, right? So you know, like love, like if you're a goddess of love, man, that expresses itself in many
ways,
crazy ways.
Aphrodite in Greek is that way, right?
Aphrodite is
both.
The beast.
Exactly. Yeah. So gods are there to do, you know, whatever that is.
Because when Mark made that deal with Khonshu saying like you agreed to release us, I knew it was all because it's all in the wording with the gods. You have to be careful in the words that you say when you make a deal with the gods. That's a blanket statement across anything dealing with mythology. Because you knew that there was that third altar that we did not know about, and he did not ask to be released. Therefore, sure, I'll release you.
Let him go. Right. Go.
I'm gonna go and work with you.
Right.
Cool.
And he tells him that, right? He's like, you have no idea about, you have no idea about Steven or Mark, like, or who this guy is, right? Yeah. So then, Mark turns around and just, squeezes that trigger and, like, yeah, fam.
Hi-yow. Yeah.
And he's not going to even know that in the more, like when he returns back to his other personality, he's not going to have any.
And let's pause for a second and like mutually appreciate the fact that one actor can play that many different roles, and we actually refer to them as different actors or different characters. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's amazing. I mean, like if you're doing like Bruce Banner and the Hulk, or you're doing, the Clumps, for example, like people just.
Tatiana Maslany is the queen of like those characters in Orphan Black.
Yeah, it's just say you have all these different sort of physical manifestations of these different characters so that you can differentiate them. But he's doing it clearly by accent, by mannerisms. Things of that nature, and I find that to be extraordinary.
And there was no overlap. I saw two completely different. I saw two completely different characters.
Yeah, and that's amazing,
the
right?
tone, the pitch, and everything.
It's
We
amazing.
got comments out there. Defunk said, I was a little let down by the conventional manner and it concluded, but episode 5 was a great tour de France. There may be riots for if Isaac doesn't get an Emmy nod. And that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I did enjoy the conversations that he had with himself in episode 6. That was like an answer and a question and an answer, and then back to another question within the same monologue. You know, that was I agree.
Yeah, it was
powerhouse
impressive.
Yeah, that's editing too, right? That's crazy editing too, right?
Have any of the Marvel shows been nominated for Emmys or
that's a good question because
you got WandaVision.
WandaVision. Okay.
They were the only ones that have been nominated because that series in and of itself, that's still my number one.
It's still my favorite Marvel
of the Marvel series. Like,
yeah, the Marvel series. It's still my favorite.
Cool.
It just hit it out the park for that first series. Like, I think Disney Plus I don't know if they needed it, but it set the tone for I thought
it really did.
So,
yeah.
Out the back.
It really did.
Absolutely. Okay, well, guys, we done talked about this. So, any other topics y'all want to bring up though before we re-rate it again?
So
yeah, I want to talk about the ending. Oh, go ahead. You.
Oh,
go ahead, Travis.
Like I said, I mean, I feel like only streaming could give you this, right? Like this tapestry, right? And I think that it is, I'm in awe of the fact that Marvel as a studio now have got so much clout that they can tell a story however the hell they want to. And you sort of you give them the benefit of the doubt. You actually, you say, Marvel, I don't understand what you're doing, okay, right now, but I trust you to land this thing, right? And as a studio, man, they've got the bomb ass record as far as I'm concerned, right? And so I feel like they're a warm blanket for me. You see what I'm saying? As far as entertainment is concerned, I'm like, Kevin's got this. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
That was WandaVision for me because those first 3 episodes, I think any other series, I would have lost interest because I was like, I don't know where the hell this is going. And I think I'm a DC guy. Again, I'm a DC guy. If a DC property would have started out that way, I'm like, well, I'll catch up with it, right? Because I would be telling you all, I watched the first 2 episodes and I didn't know where it was going. I'll have to come back to it. So I can concur with that. They've built in a lot of street cred. Courtney, you were saying about you had something you want to bring up?
Well, yeah, 2 things. Just kicking off what you just said about the first 3 episodes of WandaVision. For me, I was a kid of Nick at Night, so I enjoyed Bewitched. I enjoyed the like Dick Van Dyke, the father knows that, like, you know what I mean, like those. So for me, seeing my favorite Marvel characters and getting like little glimpses of something within embedded in this history, I was all in on the ride and I was ready to see it through. But episode 4 did turn around and then kind of made it perfect. Going into what I was saying about the finale, and again, I like what you said, Travis, about not knowing where you're going and just strapping in and enjoying the ride. Does kind of help my analytical brain, which is like, you just did another Shutter Flash, and now where's Layla? How did he end up tied up? Why is he asking no questions? Why is he just happy to be back in the room when neither one of you know what happened to your collective wife? Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? But I do appreciate what you said about like strapping in. However, we don't know, like, and maybe I just missed it because I didn't watch to the very end. The credit mean? I don't know if I scrolled down. Does it say Moon Knight will be back with season 2? Or like
it did not, and there's it's not slated.
He's only signed for 1 year. He only has a contract for 1 year.
Right.
Oscar Isaacs was very smart. He was like, no, you're not gonna lock me into 10 years.
Right. And I was about to say that he's only got it for 1 year.
And we gonna talk about it because he's probably, everybody else when they signed themselves into like Marvel land, they were known actors, but they hadn't been catapulted into the stratosphere at that time. So they could lock them in. However, Oscar Isaacs had already been nominated for like an Academy Award and like had done so much stuff. So he was like, nah, man, we're gonna do this 1 year and then we're gonna talk.
I mean, this is Disney though. They don't need him. I'm sorry.
Well,
they don't need him.
They don't. Well, let's be clear though.
They've invested in him.
Yes, exactly.
They've invested in him. He's Poe. He's in Star Wars.
Thank you.
He is like, you know what I'm saying? They have he is part of the family. Okay, him and Mickey done had dinner, lunch, and breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried. Like
Mickey like that.
They have invested in him.
Mickey's a cold dude.
Mickey's a cold.
Mickey is like the ultimate star fan. Like, let's be honest.
But Mickey will get right by you. Mickey will get right by you. And what I mean by that is, and if you don't believe me, ask Scarlett.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. They take care of their people. Like, like, especially if if you make it known that they ain't doing the right thing, like, they step up to the plate. So look, I mean, the man was just phenomenal.
He was.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't take away from his acting. Like I said, I can't take away from anybody's acting. I thought that the acting was really solid. And even the writing, I was just like, I don't know what's happening. And I think it's rare for me to be like, maybe I'm just mad because I didn't figure it out, other than the fact that I knew you had a third altar. But like I said, going back to what I said in the beginning, and then we can re-rate, it didn't have a clear, I still say I began in the middle and I ended in the middle. I don't think it had a clear beginning and end, but the end, I will admit, based on conversation with Travis, he has convinced me that it's supposed to be that like, what was it, hanging participle? Like, you know what I mean? Like that it's supposed to be this like loophole ended kind of like, or unending kind of thing. So I will hold off saying it doesn't have an ending yet. I still think I'm in the middle, but I feel a little bit better.
Yeah, because once again, my whole thing is that, clearly our main character has mental issues.
Yes.
Right. And I can appreciate, how they artfully dealt with it. That it became a storytelling device also, right, of a real high caliber. And the fact that, once again, it's one of those series where I feel like I can somewhat study it. Like I can go back and watch it, or you always see those clickbaits that say, "Hey, all the stuff you missed," and so on and so forth. Okay. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if you ever watch like The Usual Suspects, right? Right. It's a different.
I got the Star Wars Usual Suspects on for me.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah. and me with equations, but it looked.
I know. I saw that.
I saw the equations when you first joined.
That's a dope sweater.
Yeah, of course. So, but the fact that you can actually watch this show again, and pick those scenes apart. Right. And it gives new meaning and resonance to some of those scenes. Right. I'm convinced that's the case. And I personally think like when you can nest stuff like that in a movie and give the audience something to go back to, that's spectacular filmmaking.
And I hear that. And that's one of the reasons I hate week-to-week television. I wish Disney Plus would just drop them all at once, which I know they're not going to do. Because I would have had time to go back and watch it again. Like I could only watch it up to this point. And episode 6 just dropped today. So I didn't have time to go back and like, oh, okay. And rewatch it. So I'm going to have to give it a rewatch.
Oh, I'm going to. Now that I didn't have time like you. I didn't have time to sit down and like pan through them all again. I did rewatch 4 or 5 leading up into 6. But yeah.
5 was dope, man. 5 was like, whoa, they And I'm not a big fan of origin backstories, but this one was like, yeah,
But
it
I think I think it's time though for both of you to like increase your meal though, like
well,
because
we gonna re-rate it. We get to that part.
because
You
like I think I've done my job like
so
in saying like you can
so
supersize it or you
so
can put some cheese on it. You know what I'm
so
saying?
Travis has segued us into our final segment. We're going to re-rate Moon Knight. So I'm just gonna be presumptuous, Travis, and I'm gonna assume that you're going to keep your rating of
I
a 4
said what I said.
I got you. All right. Hashtag for the night. So I will jump in here. I mean, you finagled a little bit in the conversations and some points. I'm going to up it a little bit. I'm going to take it from a mini meal to a full meal. I did like the stuff about talk. I like the conversations about the sky. That really impacted me for some reason because we're in that. Yeah, we are in this universe. We had aliens wiping out all of existence. So like you went to bed and your little brother was younger than you, and then he came back and then he was now older than you.
Dude,
so
it's the multiverse this week.
Yeah, so it's like we got alien invasions and blowing up downtown. So it's like if I look up at the sky and I see stars moving around that they've never done before, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of
it's Thursday.
Avengers or somebody out there doing some stuff like that, So that was a good point. And you all maybe made sense of the because I didn't know about the third personality, and it lends me to believe that there could potentially be more than three.
Yeah.
Like it's no guarantee that those are the three. And whatchamacallit is playing games. Like he's a god. He's playing chess, right? So it's no telling who he's all made pacts with and deals with. So that's the potential because I wasn't that interested in saying, I'm like, well, maybe. Okay. So I'm going to up my rating to a full meal. I'm not doing the binge out. I'm going to take it from a mini meal to a full meal. And now, Miss Courtney Scott Wright, we're going to bring it in on you. How are you going to re-rate Moon Knight? No
Get
pressure.
Right with Khonshu. Get right with Khonshu.
Courtney can't be influenced. Courtney cannot be influenced. She can fight him with the best of them. She is not a mark.
You better give these script writers they props, girl. Action.
I will say, Travis, you did an excellent job. I challenged you to be the defense attorney for Moon Knight, and you did an excellent job. I will say that. You got me to remember a lot of the things that I did really enjoy about the series. But the main point that you made was the whole concept of like strap in and enjoy the ride. Because I can't take anything away from the acting or the stunts. I loved all the action sequences. I was just bad because I feel like I don't know what's going on. I still like it started and I still don't know what's going on. Like I had problems with Loki, but at least I know there's a plan in the works. I know that there's a plan in the works. I may not like how it ended, but I understand. So I do have to acknowledge that there was a lot more about Moon Knight that I did like. Oh gosh.
Come on now. Come on.
It's bingeable. It's bingeable. Because I was on
That's a good word for it, Courtney. It's bingeable. So it's like, but it's bingeable. I could.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's bingeable.
Yeah. I'll take it. Okay. I'm going to give Travis props. I appreciate you.
And I guess I gotta
help because I was so angry at the end of the episode last night. I was like, "You got to be kidding! How you gonna end?" Click.
I did too. I did, Courtney. I
was like, forget this stupid show.
Have you ever seen, like, honestly, have you ever seen Fallen?
With Denzel Washington?
Yeah. Like
that shit,
like you've been on a ride. You know what I'm saying? Like you were like, oh, I didn't know I was on that ride, and that's how I feel. Like after this, I feel like I didn't know I was on that ride. What's real, what's not, what's up, what's down. And I guess that was the point.
I
Props to
think
you.
that's the point. And I think that ultimately is the point, is that I don't have to be this person all the time that has this critical eye. I can simply just be a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I can simply just be a fan that's looking at a show and enjoying that, because I know there's been a lot of complaints about the whole concept of the Marvel formula. Like, we know it's going, we know what to expect, and blah, blah, blah. And I forget, I think it was Chuck who said, or no, it was another friend of mine who said that Marvel has really been going out of its way with these new streaming series to break the concept of the Marvel formula. So if that's it, they're breaking the formula for us. And we've been complaining that y'all got a formula that we can see. So then they break it, and I'm like, no, I don't understand it now.
Well, they are trying, right? They're trying.
No, exactly.
Yeah, they're trying.
But they are exceeding. I think they are succeeding.
I think Disney in general is trying. Like, what was it? The animated version of Star Wars that we watched. What was the? It was the. No, not the. It was
Visions.
Vision, Star Wars Visions.
Oh yeah.
We watched that, and while I didn't think it hit it out of the park, I liked how they were thinking. I liked that they were challenging these concepts and these foundations that we had already had to make that next jump in the next phase. So I think Disney as a company is working to do that. Like, they've recognized that, like, there's some places that are catching up with us, and if we want to be on the cutting edge, we've got to make some adjustments.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can see that. All right. Travis, man, is anything we about to head out? Anything you want to tell us before we go?
Come on, man. Tech Nubians. It's on Saturday.
Tell the people about it. Tell the people about
Saturday. It's part of the Geeks Network. You know what I'm saying? It's Saturday. And 1:00 on Saturdays.
1:00 Pacific time. 4:00.
Come check us out.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Courtney, you got anything to tell us before we head out, man?
Happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you all. And the Geekish Network, we are a company owned and produced by underrepresented people. And we are working diligently to bring you content. We have, love it, Courtney, we have writers and directors. We've got tech people. We've got designers. We've got entrepreneurs. And we do it all for you, for people who look like you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Or if you're watching us on Elon Musk's favorite hobby or Facebook, don't forget to hit the like button there. We're also on Twitch. We're not active on there, but we're going to do some streaming things like that. So be on the lookout for that. And we're also available on audio wherever your favorite podcasts are found. Next week, we're going to be doing Picard. Travis, bruh, if you feel like you want to come in and have some conversation about Picard.
Make it so.
Yeah, you are invited. Yeah, you're invited to come hang out with the family.
Yes.
Cool. As Courtney says, man, same geek time, same geek channel next week. We'll holler at you guys later. Peace.
Look out and good night.
Peace.